All right. Now coming to the transfer of the back block, let us establish our dimensions. The length of the gown from the base of the neck to the hemline is 44 inches. We'll be needing 4 inches to the base for turning in and for the stitching, and we need 1 inch at the top. So add 5 inches to 44, that is 49. So we need lining of 49 inches length, and that applies to the fabric as well. Now, to minimize wastage, we come to check our, this is the portion where we cut the first lining. Now, what I'm going to do is to pick at this stage from this end, fold in the width. Don't forget we have 49 as the length. What is the width going to be? The width is going to be at the hip, we have 12 and a quarter. You know why it's 12 and a quarter? The hip measurement originally is 10 and a quarter, plus 2 inches for zipper allowance, and we're going to leave 2 inches at the other end for seam allowance. So we have 12 and a quarter plus 2, that is 14 and a quarter. So we are going to measure that out. So I'm folding this into 2 by 14 and a half, just like it is here. 14 and a half. I'm giving that extra 1 quarter in case of necessity. So I lay out the line in this way. So I'm going to start the measurement from here. Then we pick up the fabric that we'll be using. So we're also going to look for how to manage to prevent wastage. The first cutting we did was done at this end here. So this second half cannot go around what we need, the 14 and a quarter. So what I'm going to do is to come down on the fabric and fold out that same width, 14 and a quarter. I told you can use iron to straighten that out. And I'll also determine that length. We say that is 49 inches. So we are going to 14 and a half. And from this other end, where we stopped this cutting here, we are taking 49 from here. So wherever 49 stops is where I'm going to join with the lining at the base. So 49 ends at this point. So this point together with the lining. So we align that and we'll bring in our pattern. Let's confirm the measurement again. This is 14 and a half. And can I get from this point 49? Yeah. So we'll bring up the pattern. And when it's time to fix, don't forget we have to leave 1 inch up. So this is the point we are taking. So we're going to be leaving about an inch before we pin the pattern. Now we have folded this fabric and the lining into 2, but we're going to be splitting them up because zipper would be introduced in between. When we get to the points of doing that, we would find out. Don't forget that we took in a measurement here to prevent the bulging of the dress at the center of the back, but make sure that the fabric, the lining, and the pattern, they are aligning. So having pinched this side, we're going to transfer the pattern from the dart. So we trace it out according to the pattern that has been drafted. And then after tracing out the legs of the dart, we trace the center. So that has been indicated. Then let's pin the other sides. Take note of how the pinning is done. It is done in a way that it's diagonal, so that when you are cutting, you are not, no pin is facing the hand directly. Now, with the tailor's chalk, we will map out the allowances. Now, we said that at the neck here, how many allowances did we leave the other time? The neckline is usually half of an inch. If it gets more than half of an inch, it's going to get bulky. While at the shoulder, we leave 1 inch. At the armhole as well, 1 inch. Then at the sides, we are going to be leaving 2 inches. Now, when you are making this marking, make sure that you indicate, especially on the major lines, like the hip line, the waistline, and at the hem. Then some points in between. And at the base here, we said we'll be leaving out 4 inches, which we already factored into our calculation. So from here to this point, it's 4 inches. So we know we'll be cutting this out to the end here. When you are tracing out the connection of the points, pay attention to make sure that the gap between the pattern and the end of the fabric, the same line that you are drawing, is even across the pattern. So where it is 2 inches, you keep it 2 inches all through. Then you have an inch at the neckline here. You should guess what the next thing should be. Now, we'll also be cutting out at this end without any allowance. Then we're going to be mapping out the original line. This line I'm marking is called what? You should know what this line is. So we are going to trace out this line. So this line we are tracing out is called what? That is the seam line. Should not forget you. That is where the sewing machine would pass through in joining the fabric. Anything longer than this, anything more than it, will make the fabric less fitting, while if it is shorter, the clothing is going to become overfitted and uncomfortable for the clients. So having mapped out this area, what's next? That is cutting. So we shall now go ahead to cut out the fabric, the lining, and we'll be following the cutting line. So we've been able to detach the fabric and the lining from the other bulk. We're going to sort them out, but let's complete
what we have here. Now, one extra thing for the back is that while this pattern was drawn for, say, a gown that would have zipper, we are not going to be having the two of them together. They must be cut in between, just like you see I'm doing. That is unlike what we have in the front block. This must be cut in between. So with this, we've been able to separate the two linings and the two fabrics for the back. So we'll be moving to the sleeve, and after we're done with that, we'll be going to the sewing machine to join them together.